Problem number 1. We have a new note. We start typing. Each new letter is a new note again, like it was that one time. Why? Well, what's happening right now, first of all, sidebar received reset current note. It doesn't need to receive that anymore, right? It's no longer doing that. So I no longer even need to pass that down to sidebar. We are a chattery bunch of rascals today. Sidebar reset current note. Don't need it. Okay. So when we save note, the way we fixed that before was by making sure that we set current note again, right? We set current note to the one that we just saved. What we need to do now is make sure that our URL is that. Make sense? So if you have a blank note and you start typing, it should immediately save that note and change your URL to have that new ID in it, right? Make sense? So here's where we start actually like programmatically changing the URL. So instead of setting current note, what we could do is use history push. So we need to make sure that, let's see our main thing here. Main props. We don't have history location and match. Why not? Because in app.js, when we render it, we didn't pass those props along. You remember how to do that? So our render function inside a route will receive those props as an argument to our render function. So if we want to use those, we need to make sure we pass them along. So we'll do that. How can we do that? We could say navprops equal navprops. Or we could just say, inside curly braces, ellipsis navprops. Use the spread operator. Is that lined up? Yes. Now main has history, location, and match. We should do the same thing to sign in. So let's get our nav props here. Sign in, nav props. If we got there through a route, we want to have our React router props along with us. So now in main, I could say this dot props dot history dot push slash notes slash note.id. But we only want to push that onto our history if we're not already on that page, right? If we're already on that page, we don't just want to have our history full of that page over and over, or we'll break the back button. You'll have to hit back like 20 times. Some sites do that, and it's super annoying. We don't want to make that mistake. So we need to keep track of whether we should do this, this redirect at the end. So if the note ID was not found and it's a brand new note, then we know that we need to do that, right? So I'm going to put a variable at the top here. I'm going to use let because we're actually going to reassign it. So let should redirect equals false. By default, we will not redirect. But if there is no note ID already and it's a brand new note, then should redirect is true. We could not do this line if this were const. So this is the difference between let and const. We can reassign something that was assigned with let. So then down here, we'll say if should redirect this.props history push. We've got a blank form right now. We're at the bottom. Okay, it changed. Does it work? Yep, works now. And check my history. Yeah. That note's just in there once. It didn't push every time I push onto history every time I typed a new letter. So redirect appropriately after save.